to the Barside Spurs podcast, coming to you all the way from the Barside Arms. Tonight I am joined by Simon. How are we doing, Si?
All right, thank you very much. I'd like you to know that I turned down a hot date indoors in a pub this evening to join you guys, so I hope we've got a good show planned.
You look like you were in a onesie, though, so I don't think you look like you were that much keen to go out,
Well, and what you can't see is I spilt half my dinner down it, so there we go.
Okay. Okay. You didn't actually... We can't see that, so you didn't even need to tell us, did you? I mean, you could have just said that you were wearing a stylish onesie and everyone would have believed you and it would have been sweet. But
anyone who's ever seen my social media platform, they'll know that I would not be wearing anything stylish, so it's totally fine.
It's quite good if you spill your dinner down you, though, because when it dries, you've got something a bit later to hydrate, haven't you?
Absolutely.
To dribble on it. So
Exactly.
If you get stuck in a desert, for example, you've got food on your clothes to suck out all the food.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Perfect. So as you can hear, we're also joined by Andy. How are we doing, Andy?
Yeah, I'm all right, mate. Thank you. Yes.
Yeah.
Very excited. Very excited.
Why are you excited, mate?
Oh.
Are we going to cover? Is that something we'll come on to later?
Later.
Yeah. Fantastic. I'm looking forward to that because your excitement is already drawing me in, and I'm anticipating what it's going to be because I have no idea. I've been
Well, you do
keeping my head down, busy at work. Not paying attention to any news channels or anything like that. So I have no idea what might be coming up. So it's great stuff.
No, that's good.
Good stuff. We're also joined by Mr. I placed it in the board 180.
Pie thief.
Fuck off, pie thief.
The pie thief.
I'm doing all right. I had my Moderna vaccine on Friday, and Madonna, yeah, and I feel immortal.
Like a
Really?
All right.
So you understand that it? I mean, even with Moderna, I think it's two shots, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Okay,
so you're not immortal yet. You're halfway to being immortal.
Well, I didn't get any side effects, so it must be I just must be a truly remarkable person. Tom Mitchell had exactly the same batch of Moderna, and he felt like shit for a couple of days, and I felt great.
Well, what they did was they put a placebo in you and gave Tom your dose as well because they didn't think you need it.
Yeah.
There's been a general consensus that you're expendable. So they've just given you a placebo, and you're gonna have to just take your chances, mate.
All right, cheers, thanks, mate. Yeah, nice to see you as well.
Well, I have noticed actually since you've had this vaccination that you've been particularly twattish on WhatsApp and bit of a bastard. So I think actually, if anything, it's made you more of a grump and a bit more irritable, if anything. But you may not have noticed that. It's just the way just the way you're coming across at the moment.
Oh right, okay.
Just putting it out there, letting you know.
Right, I don't care.
See, there you go. In evidence, there it is, just in evidence, right there. So anyway, enough of that bollocks. We're also joined by our pod partner and guy that is taking North London by storm, G from We Are Tottenham Pie and Mash. How are we doing, G?
I'm well, thank you. I'm good. I'm very well. Good to be back.
Yeah, good. You should be full of all the delights because last time we spoke to you, obviously you hadn't, you were still prepping to get things off the ground. Since then, you've finally made it, and if social media is to be believed, and I'm hoping on this occasion social media is to be believed because normally it isn't. But it looks like your pies are flying off the shelf and everything's going brilliantly.
I haven't bribed anyone, so
yeah.
I think it's all true.
Yeah. Well, they do say, G, that 4 out of 5 people are totally honest.
Yeah. How many people have said anything?
There's 5 of us here. So who's the dishonest one? I'm looking at the man that just coughed.
180. I mean, I think that speaks for itself. So, I think you've answered your own question, sir.
They're not going to stop mentioning that all night now.
Yeah, but G believes me, and now he can see me. He understands how honest. I've got an honest face, haven't I, G?
Oh, I've never seen one more honest.
Oh,
Exactly. There you go.
But they did want you
that's
to,
an endorsement.
they did want you to bring the dartboard out though. Just before you came on, they said they want a live
Yeah, let's go.
a live set.
Yeah, let's go for it. Let's do it.
Go on,
Next
then.
time.
So, well, I mean, whilst we talk about the football, you're welcome to go and get yourself set up in front of your board, and then you can put on a live display. And if you replicate it, G's prepared to continue with the offer for the free meal that he said before. If you don't, for every time you miss, he's going to take away an item from that meal. So
hang on, there's only two items anyway, isn't there? Pie and mash.
And liquor.
You got 3 darts.
You got the pie and mash and liquor.
You
So
might just get a plate of liquor.
You might just end up with a plate of liquor, or you might just end up with the takeaway package. You know.
Yeah, that's probably more likely.
Don't worry, you're all right. Your pie's safe.
Anyway, okay. So let's crack on. We've got a bit of football to talk about. So we'll start off with the Sheffield United women's game for the women in the FA Cup 5th round, I think it was. They managed to secure a 2-1 win after extra time. Anyone see any of the game at all? Highlights or anything like that?
Didn't see it, no. Didn't see highlights either. Just saw the score.
I managed to see that. I needed to catch up with both games. I didn't obviously get a chance to see the Wolves game either. And the highlights that I saw, I think for the women's game that were available were longer than the highlights that I managed to see for the men's game. But anyway, good finishes by the women in the game. Scored a couple of cracking goals. Had a few chances where they hit the post as well. So it looked a little bit more promising. And they're through to the next round. So happy days with that. I don't actually know when the next round's going to be played. No idea. I tried to look it up earlier. It doesn't seem to give an indication. I know there's one further game outstanding for that round, which I think is played.
Yeah, just having a look now. So Chelsea versus Everton still to go ahead
on Wednesday.
Thursday. So they may not have done the draw yet, I suppose.
But you'd think that. I mean, you'd think that like any other round of the FA Cup, you would just do the draw with that outstanding fixture and schedule it in. But I can't see any schedule for when the next round of games is going to be played. But I'm assuming they're all going to be fairly quick succession, considering the actual season is over now for the WSL. So good luck to them for that, and hope they progress a bit further. So on to the Wolves game. Managed to get a 2-0 victory. Andy, the lineup. What did you make of that? Tanganga came in for Aurier. That was the only change, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, yeah. It was great to see Tanganga in there. I love him. I think he's a great player, and I thought he had a good game. Lo Celso started. I thought he had a decent game, Lo Celso, but he was getting loads of crap on Twitter. But that's Twitter for you. Yeah, and Dembele dropped again. Ali playing. I thought Dele had a brilliant game. I thought he was man of the match for me.
I need to just to declare here and now. Obviously, the game was on the same time as my game, so I didn't get to see it. I only managed to see the highlights on Match of the Day 2. I think I could have watched the full rerun of the game at 11:45 on Sunday night, which unfortunately wasn't logistically viable for me, so I didn't get to do that. So I haven't really seen the game, so I have to rely on your feedback and your comments about Lo Celso and Dele. Are in stark contrast to some of the tweets that I saw, like when I managed to catch up with Twitter in the evening. Certainly around, I think the sort of halftime tweets where a number of fans were baying for the blood of both players and that they should have been replaced. So, who's right? Jamie, who's right? Who's wrong? Is Andy right? Is Twitter right? What were your thoughts on those two players, and also what was your thoughts on Reggie, because he seemed to get a bit of plaudits at the end, and he's been through a torrid time in the last few weeks.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to say it, and I really do hate myself for agreeing with Andy. And I've got to say, Lo Celso actually did okay yesterday. Dele obviously had a good game as well. He looks like he's potentially coming back to his best, and it's been too long since we've seen Dele Alli on form. And as for Reggie was fairly solid. He was tenacious, winning the ball back on the touchline there to set up a much needed goal. So all round we did play well, but then Wolves didn't really bring much to the table, did they? They were fairly poor. I don't really remember much of them in a attacking sense. But the guy they had up top, was it Silva? Isn't he the young lad? He's 18 or 19.
Fabio Silva, yeah. Is it Fabio Silva? He's like 18 or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the sort of finishing he was demonstrating yesterday. He looked like a player that he's so shit that why didn't we buy him? He was incredibly poor, but obviously against the opposition with a half decent attacker up front, the story could have been very, very different from yesterday.
He's very hit and miss, isn't he? That Fabio Silva, he's very hit and miss. He's, I think the goal that he scored, he took recently, he took really, really well. But as you say, the number of chances that in other games that he's had and just executed really poorly, exactly. And I think really, I mean, obviously this isn't a Wolves pod, so we don't really care too much about their situation, but I think he was one that was bought for the future, and if it hadn't been for the guy that had that terrible injury up top, the one that likes to wear the mask for them, I can't remember his name now, but the Mexican striker,
Jimenez.
Yeah, Raul Jimenez. That's it. Yeah. If it hadn't been for him getting that serious injury, then obviously Silva wouldn't have had much of the game time that he's had this season.
Yeah.
But yeah, as I said, he did have 4 or 5 really good chances, which with someone else up top, the result could have been completely different yesterday. But we took our chances, we've got the win, and we've gone above West Ham, so that's shut those mugs up for a little bit as well. And it'll be just hilarious if we can finish above them, considering they've been giving us a load of shit for the last few months.
Be ideal, won't it, if we finish above them and Arsenal and also Chelsea drop out the top 4? That'd be brilliant.
Exactly. It would be the icing on the cake.
It would be, yeah. Lovely.
So, I mean, we got a clean sheet. There was a lot of obviously typical. Like I think in the morning and last night, on the night before, there were a lot of people that were moaning about the prospect of Dyer again playing, and it seems to me that Mason, where possible, wants to play with a settled defensive unit. So, Simon, what were your thoughts on the defensive performance? Dyer, Toby, and Reggie up against. I know not necessarily Fabio Silva, but certainly up against Traore, Adama Traore, and being the one that was going to be a threat with his pace. And did we handle him well? Or what was how did you feel that? When did Dyer silence any critics, or was it just that Wolves were so shit that actually
well,
he wasn't challenged?
I will come clean and say I've only seen the highlights because I was out all day yesterday. And I would say the fact that the highlights were 6.5 minutes can only tell me that there was not much trouble at our end. There was a few, I think, in the highlight package. There was a few kind of what we called skirmishes, but I don't think they gave us a specific amount of trouble. But you'll tell me, because it looked like really we were causing them all of the. It looked like we were playing the football we want to play, but against an opposition who weren't probably giving us very much back. Is how it came across.